This could be the classic trap scenario for the Clemson Tigers as they got Louisville coming up next week. Today they take on Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech, and they're laying 9.5. I'm going to back the Yellow Jackets here, getting the 9.5. They've looked good so far this season, a lot better than last year, at least how they're looking so far. I expect for them to go ahead and be able to move the ball. They have a good senior quarterback in Justin Thomas. So, I think defensively they're going to be able to, shut down Clemson just enough to stay within the 9.5. Can they pull off the upset? It's a little bit much there. Clemson's really talented, but still, with Louisville coming up next week, might be peeking ahead just a little bit on the road. Georgia Tech, not an easy place to play, and they're definitely, having a rebound year, so it seems so far this season. So I'm going to take the 9.5 here with Georgia Tech. Let's talk about these two programs. First, let's talk about Clemson. Deshaun Watson, he's been okay. Let's talk about Clemson. They gained 399 yards total versus Auburn. That was in their opener. In their next two games, they won easily, but they dropped from second to fifth in the polls, and that's just, because Louisville looked so good. And again, another thing, Louisville took that second spot from Clemson, so that's something they might be noticing again, maybe looking ahead of this Georgia Tech matchup, a team they absolutely dominated last year at home, but now on the road, Georgia Tech having a much better year. I think defensively, the Yellow Jackets should be able to do enough. If they can force Clemson to throw the ball a little bit more than they're comfortable throwing, with Deshaun Watson, who's been okay. I mean, he's only his completion percentage just around 57%. If Georgia Tech can do a good job stopping the run, I think they could force him into passing. They might be able to pick a couple off and make things difficult on the Tigers. Georgia Tech, very interesting team. Let's talk about them. They went for 511 yards versus Vanderbilt last week with 289 of those coming on the ground, 38-7 win against Vanderbilt, who's got a really good defensive coach. So good win for them. It seems, again, like they're much better than last year, and I think they're going to give Clemson a little bit of trouble. Although Clemson did a nice job versus that option attack last season, I think Georgia Tech's going to have a few things up their sleeves. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at Clemson for sure. So I think 9.5, they could stay within it, especially at home, and considering the scenario as well for Clemson. So I'm going to back the Yellow Jackets here plus the 9.5. That's my NCAA football pick. We're 5-3 so far on the season, and I wish you guys luck on your picks today.